Darn it. Something got to it before me. Nothing. Nothing. Nope. Nothing. Well, the eggs are definitely coming from the ducks. But who knows where they're gonna lay them, whether it's in the pond, on the side of the barn, or in the middle of the mud pit in the buck pan. You just never know with these ducks. But I just broke the cardinal rule of homesteading. You know what I did? I put eggs in my pocket. You know they're just gonna get broken there, right? Right, Rose? It's alright. I'm gonna take them out as soon as I get in the barn. Put them with the rest of my eggs that I found today. Good girl. Good girl. Udder's looking bigger every morning, girl. She's so big. I didn't film yesterday when I got her on the milk stand. She put her front feet up right away without even being asked. And then I just had to give her a little boost to get her back feet up, which is perfectly normal when a new goat meets a new milk stand. They tend to be a little bit nervous. So, giving her a chance to get used to it. Most goats learn a new routine in 3 days. So this is day 3 of her getting on the milk stand, and I barely had to assist. I do push with my thighs and not my back to make sure that I don't hurt my back, for those of you that were concerned about that. So Ruby here has already upped her milk just a little bit since the first milking. Without separating the kids, I'm already getting more milk from her. She responds really well to the bumping and massaging to get the milk to let down. She is holding back for her kids. She's got so much milk in here that she's saving for those babies because she's such a good mom. But you see, just a couple of jiggles and I'm able to get a lot more milk. So if I do this a few times, give it a few minutes to let the second milk let down, I usually get a lot more that way. Getting new goats is a huge blessing, but it also has its own set of problems or issues that you have to work through. For this situation, it's getting her to know that this is her milk stand now. Her milk stand at home was very different than ours. I believe he used the metal stands, and with this being a wooden stand, you know, it's new and it's in a different spot. She's in a different place. I'm a new person to her for the milking steps, at least. I think she does remember me, but I think that she's never had me milk her before, so she's still a little timid about that. Getting goats that were in really wet conditions also has its own set of problems that we're dealing with. They have some hoof issues. Their hooves were growing too fast and too soft to get them properly trimmed, and so we're correcting it, trying to get them stronger, applying things to help with any foot fungus that may be there, cleaning them, keeping them good shape. She also has a little bit of what I call swamp rash on her udder. The area that they lived in was truly a swamp, and that was part of the reason why Dave was getting rid of the goats, is so that he can correct the water flow on the property so that he can make a good dry area for goats to live. But it's just this bumpy fungus that comes up on the udder. So I'm treating that with tea tree oil, and that should clear up pretty soon. We also use coconut oil to help with that. And the funny thing is I didn't know Ruby had that, and Dave hadn't been milking, but Ruby's daughter, Fancy 2, one of our other goats, is actually Ruby's daughter. For some of you, you know that, but some of you don't. And she has the same thing when we have wet weather and she's in milk. She gets these bumps all over her udder, and I have to treat it with tea tree oil and coconut oil, and yeah. So, needless to say, it's definitely showing to be a genetic thing. But it clears up and it's not bad. It's not contagious. It's not bad for the milk. So it's just one of those things that if there's just too much moisture, you get issues. And so getting them into a drier area, I mean, we've had some pretty wet weather too, so we have a lot more mud than usual too. But it's starting to dry up finally. Let's go, let's go. Come on. I'm hoping that if I just open the next door, that these girls will just follow the herd out. Nobody will notice them. Come on. Let's go, let's go. Come on, fancy girl. Come on, girls. Come on, you can do it. Yay, come on, Shay. Come on. Come on outside, I'll lead you. Come on. Come on, come on. Come on, Ruby. What? Fancy and Shy? Do you remember Fancy? Fancy, do you remember Shy? Go on. Let me get Ruby. I hope Fancy doesn't headbutt too much. Come on, Rube. Come on, bring those babies with you. Come on, girls. Come on. Looks like time's in heat. Come on, babies, follow Mama. Come on, babies. Follow Mom. Come on. Yeah. All right. They came up here with my help. As long as I walked up here with them. Shy seems to be instigating a few head bumps, but nothing overly zealous. I think they're gonna be fine. I wonder how many of the old girls remember these girls. The only ones that haven't met these goats before are gonna be, of course, the ones that were born this year, and Kitty and Sisterette. The rest, well, I guess Daisy and Dominique haven't met them, but the rest of them are from the same herd. In fact, Ruby is Fancy 2 and Eugene's mother. So this is fun. I'm thinking one of my other does might be Shy's, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Shy, are you the mom to one of these other ones that I got from Dave? I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the registration on them. Everybody else seems to be good, healthy. Seems like everybody's kind of just ignoring the new goats. Ruby's working her way in there to get some hay, butting some of the smaller ones out of the way, testing Fancy Girl a little. Yeah, I think this is gonna be just fine. Wow, Shy, you are so pretty. Shy is really warmed up too. She's been cuddling all over me. Oh, Dominique says, Mommy, don't you still love me? Yes, big blockhead. Oh, yes. Sweet baby girl. We've got lots of great name suggestions for the babies. It's going to be really hard to choose. They're so cute. And the names that people are suggesting are so cute too. I appreciate everybody that's made suggestions. This Georgia weather has been weird. We were so warm the last couple of days. I actually feel a little chilly today because of the breeze. It's in the 50s. I shouldn't be chilly in the 50s in the winter, but that breeze just touches my ears a little too much. But I'm starting to warm up because I'm out here trying to unravel this mess of a measuring tape. I used to have this really awesome 100-foot measuring tape that rolled up inside of itself that I had used for years. I got the thing in the clearance bin. It was like one of the best purchases I ever made. I used the thing for years and years and years, and this is all that's left of it now because Ryan got a hold of it with the tractor one day when I had it laid out in the garden, measuring the garden. I've had a few people ask me the size of my garden, and I honestly have no clue. So I need to get measurements for fencing anyway to make sure I have enough And so I'm gonna try to get those measurements today so that I can start planning out my garden design on a piece of paper, because that's gonna be soon. So we got about 80 foot by 45 feet of garden space here that we're gonna be working with. So that's a lot of growing space. I think we'll be able to plant everything we want to this year. Yeah, 3,600 square feet of growing. I think we'll be able to grow a few things. And if we run out of space, we can always start a new garden bed in a different spot over in the paddock or back there on the other side of that fence. Staying out here to do those garden measurements, I noticed that everything is really calm, which is very interesting because we have some pretty bossy queens, and Ruby has always been the queen of her herd. So I was expecting a little bit more drama, but I wonder how much of it is attributed to the intelligence of goats. Ruby remembers me. I'm sure she remembers her herd mates. She knows them. She knows Thyme. She knows Hearts. She knows Rosemary. She knows Fancy Girl. And she knows Shady. So this is very familiar territory for her in some ways. The land is different, but the herd is very similar to her old herd. And Shy as well. Shy's been around for a while too. I have not gotten the paperwork. Dave forgot to bring it, and he'll give it to me when he gets back from out of town. So I will be giving you guys the herd names. I know several of you have asked. Wow, Shy is such a pretty goat. She's looking over at the boys. I wonder if she's gonna come into heat because this buck's around. But we've already had one possible offer for an AI with her with a white buck. So that could be what we do with Shy this year. It would be pretty amazing to get some white offspring from her. And now that breeding season is over, the bucks are acting in rut. Isn't that ridiculous? They are finally showing an interest. They have started urinating on their faces and everything. And I'm like, guys, I don't want June babies. The last attempted breeding we did was with Precious, right over there on the end. I'm trying to point, but my finger's not in the screen. Precious over there. We attempted a breeding with her and Fluff and Nutter just a couple of days ago, and that put her at the beginning of June as her due date. And I was like, uh-oh, beginning of June? I don't want beginning of June. I guess I better stop trying to breed anyone. I would prefer not to have summer kids, but it might not be a bad thing. Fancy too always kidded in the summer, and she always had beautiful babies and healthy, so we'll see. Just going with the flow at this point and focusing on the garden and keeping our herd healthy till we can really focus on getting the proper breeding timeline in place. You know, a year ago, if you told me I would have 25 goats and only a couple of them kidding, I would have said, no way. That's useless. What's the point of that? But we are working on improving our herd at this point. So we're narrowing down who's gonna stay and who's gonna go. There's a few more out there that I may be parting with. I have a friend who's looking at purchasing her homestead any day now, possibly. Like, their closing date is coming up, and if they close and they finalize it, Eugene is going. He's got a home. It's his best friend, and he's gonna be very well loved. But that means he's gonna need a girl to go with him. So we're gonna have to make some decisions up there. There's a few up there that I have in mind that would probably be good to go with Eugene. I just have to decide whether or not I'm ready to part with them yet. It's hard, but I know that I have to narrow down the playing field, increase our milk production, and improve our herd genetics. And in order to do that, that means getting rid of some of the genetics we have. Starting a goat herd isn't as easy as it looks. A lot of decisions go into play, and one of the big things that I'm battling with now is the idea that I do need another buck, and Ruby's got a buckling that comes from her genetics, which is really high milk volume, but he's not registered. His dad was a purebred, but he wasn't registered before he was sold. So if I do that, that means all of my offspring from that year are gonna be unregisterable. But then I started thinking about it and I'm like, I'm really behind in my registration paperwork anyway, because I don't do well with paperwork, and getting all of that paperwork for registration done is something that's just been put on the back burner. And it can be, you don't have to do it right away. But if you don't do it right away, then you're gonna forget things, and then you're gonna fall behind even more, and then you're so I'm trying to decide if registration and being able to sell babies for $400 is more important, or if breeding for good milk lines and just selling the babies for $200 would be possibly easier. Such a hard decision. It's January and I'm already getting excited about my summer garden. It's gonna be pretty amazing this year. I'm working on a video. I'm waiting on a few clips from other YouTubers to add into it. And it's gonna be all about starting your garden and how to choose what seed to grow. And then there's gonna be another one after that about how to start your garden in terms of what site to select and what style and method and soil to use. I'm also gonna have one on starting seeds. It'll be a new gardening series that I'll put in a separate playlist that will be available for everyone. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys for watching. You know the drill. We'll see you next time on Wholesome Roots.